What if the wound you keep begging to disappear is the only thing in you that still remembers the way home? Sit with that. Because some of you have been treating your pain like a crime scene when it has been trying to hand you a map. You keep saying, I wish I could go back to who I was before. Before what? Before you learned a smile can have teeth? Before you learned that I'm sorry can be a hallway with no windows? Before you learn how expensive peace becomes when you keep buying it from people who profit from your silence? No, you do not need to go back. That woman did her job. She got you here. And now it is your turn to stop visiting her grave like she did not leave you the keys. Now let Mama Graves tell you something hard. Your pain is real, but pain is a terrible landlord. It will take every room in your life if you keep paying rent with your future. It will sit on the edge of your bed in the morning and tell you not to apply, not to leave, not to trust that compliment, not to wear that dress, not to answer that call. It will call itself intuition, when sometimes it is only an old alarm still ringing in a house that has already been rebuilt. And I am not asking you to silence the alarm. I am asking you to learn its language. There is a difference. An alarm is not there to become your identity. It is there to tell you where the smoke began. Your wound is not proof that you are damaged goods. It is evidence that something happened and you are still here with enough breath left to name it. That is not small. That is not cute. That is a damn resurrection with no choir behind it. Now, here is where women get free. Not when the scar becomes pretty. Not when the memory stops shaking you. Not when you can tell the story without your voice changing. You get free when you give the wound a job other than hurting you. Let it become discernment. Let it become the part of you that notices when somebody's kindness has conditions sewn into the hem. Let it become the part of you that hears a person say, you're too sensitive, and understand they are trying to turn down the volume on a truth they do not want to hear. Let it become the part of you that no longer calls being tolerated the same thing as being loved. Because you have been through enough to know the difference between a hand reaching for you and a hand reaching through you for whatever it thinks it can take. That knowing is not bitterness. That is a blade with a handle now, and it is finally in your hand. Another thing, stop performing a healed version of yourself for people who only clap when your pain is convenient. You do not owe anybody a graceful recovery. You do not have to become soft enough to make the people who wounded you feel less guilty. You do not have to turn every scar into a sermon for people who never sat with you in the dark. Some of your healing will look ordinary. It will look like sleeping through the night without checking who has gone quiet. It will look like eating before you earn it. It will look like saying no without writing a 12-page defense of your humanity. It will look like losing the appetite for relationships that require you to become smaller so somebody else can feel large. That is freedom, not always beautiful. Sometimes freedom looks like a woman staring at her phone, seeing the message, and realizing her nervous system no longer owes it a response. The people who benefited from your brokenness will often be offended by your repair, because your wound used to make you reachable. Reachable for guilt, reachable for crumbs, reachable for the same old story with different wallpaper. But when a woman learns the geography of her own hurt, she stops getting lost in familiar places. She sees the pattern before it starts speaking. She sees the hook before it enters the water. She hears the lie clearing its throat. And that is when people say she has changed. Yes, she has. The woman who once mistook pain for proof of love has become difficult to deceive. The woman who once tried to be chosen has started choosing herself so loudly that the old hunger does not know what to eat. So here is a question again. What if the wound you keep begging to disappear is the one thing in you that knows where you left yourself? Do not build a shrine to it. Do not let it run the whole house, but do not insult it either. It carried messages through places in you that nobody else could reach. It taught you which rooms needed light. It taught you what your silence costs. It taught you that survival is not the end of the story. Sometimes survival is just the hand reaching through the rubble to pull the real you back into the world. If this found you, like this video, like your life depends on it, because another woman may need to hear it while she still thinks her wound is a sentence instead of a compass. Save it, send it, sit with it again, and visit mamagraves.org for more resources your wounds may need. You are not what happened to you, but you are allowed to become everything it taught you to protect.